Alright, so this is Filbert. So I'm going to be going over some just tips and stuff for new players about Steel Division 2. I'm going to be using this battle, another one. Both of them are 2v2s. And I'm just, again, covering basics. This is intended for new players to the series, if you just need refreshers, or just like listen to me talk, that's fine too. So you can see at the start of the battle, uh, the things you want to take note on are big intersections. So, different maps will have different types of deployment zones. That's the dead center. And I'm looking for, so at the center, important crossroads. So for him controlling this crossroads, I'm looking, I want to get this forest because, this is, if I hold C, C is a very useful tool for line of sight in this game. If I get units in this forest, I have so much line of sight, and he's thinking probably the same thing with this forest, but I'm closer to the middle, and that means I'm closer to his deployment zone. As the game goes on, I can keep pushing and taking ground. So I'm going to focus on my side. A lot of times in 2v2s, you're kind of split up left and right, though you can support each other. But you're looking for areas in the middle. If you can get them, areas you're going to be able to control that are going to have very good line of sight on intersections, roads, and routes, because roads are a big lifeline in this game. You want to control roads if you can. So let's speed up to the start of the battle. Well, I guess a little bit of what I'm doing is in basically all my groups, and this is what I like to do. So essentially, I'm looking at, I have 4 groups of units because I'm going after 4 spots, and every spot I'm going after, I'm sending recon. So at the front of each of these units is a recon unit. Uh, so I'm gonna try getting reconning like this wood line, this wood line, this wood line, and like this wood line, or over here as well. So basically I have this group. All right, I want to get control of this forest and this forest. This group, I'm looking at these woods. This group, I'm looking at these woods. This group, I'm looking at these woods, and kind of eyeballing this town. Uh, but so each group I'm gonna send out is gonna have recon and infantry at least, and then if I can throw in artillery, tanks, it just depends. Like over here, I'm not crazy about sending a tank right away because if he gets AT and either of these wood lines, he has very good line of sight, and any tank in this area is going to be open to being shot. Though tanks do like line of sight, I'm not seeing. I can start hiding tanks in these trees because tanks can drive in these lightly forest areas. But it's just stuff to pay attention to. Not saying you can't send armor over here. I eventually do, but early game, I just don't want to get caught. Get caught with my pants down. So, uh, but yeah, let's go to the start of the game. I think we had about 4 minutes of setup. All right, so game is going. We'll keep it on speed 5 for a bit. One other thing you can do as a new player, after you place your units and as you're placing them, you can give them orders. So first thing you can see, I did call in a plane, so a recon plane, but like even though the unit can't move, you can right click where you want it to go. So as soon as the game starts, everything starts moving. So I recommend doing that before you start. You want everything to be moving. So I'm getting guys in position. You can see he's rushing up the town over here. So he called in 2 fighters. I called in a fighter. My buddy called one in. I quickly got my recon out. He's pulling his planes back. Air control is key. I always want to try and stress that. And you can see even both of his are double ranked. But I do keep my recon plane on the map. I just pulled it back. I didn't evacuate. When they have that like half circle, that means they're evacuating. So, but kind of focusing back to the game at hand, I'm getting units in some buildings, just in a lot of tree lines. I'm getting Panzer Shreks in tree lines against roads. If he's tries to do some crazy armor push, I can hit it. So we have fighting over here on the right. Now, what he did was very smart. He has a bunch of flame infantry, which are going to be very deadly close range. But they don't have AT, so I'm not too worried about my tank yet. But you can see he has the same idea. He wants this wood line. I'm hiding this recon unit. I still have some sight. But the next thing I'm looking to do, and you can see I'm saying infantry, I'm saying artillery, because I know there's a good chance I probably lost this, because I don't have much to do. At the time I seen he had multiple flame units. There's not much I can do that close range. So my infantry, I'm kind of sacrificing some of this infantry just to delay for more to get to the front line and artillery. You can see my recon, and I do this with almost all my recon, how it has that like yellow icon. That means it will only return fire. They will not attack unless they are attacked themselves. I recommend doing that for all recon. You can see my recon over here, over here. Really, I should have been moving some of this recon up. A lot of my focus was being pulled over here. I did pull some armor over here, like I said I wasn't going to at the beginning, but I eventually do. And I really don't want to lose this town, especially on this map. That's vital. And you can just see I'm calling a lot of tanks, a lot of troops, and doing everything I can. I'm falling back with my tank. I'm not gonna just sacrifice units pointlessly. Infantry is a little bit different because I have so much of it. But we're looking good. We have 13 of the 11 points. You can see my ally took the hill over here. He's fighting for the town. We did get this town. Just kind of holding it for now. Not worried about the bridge. So I'm just bringing more units up. As I pull one plane out, I send another. Well, I think I had another in, but I'm always trying to keep some airplanes, and you can use your attack planes to strafe, and it is effective against infantry. One thing to always remember, though, just because a unit has a role doesn't mean it can't go outside that role. So attack planes can strafe infantry, even though their main goal is to fight other aircraft. And you can just see I did forget about units over here that are just not doing anything. But right now, I'm okay. I have pushed more than half. I'm okay with sitting here because I want to make sure I get this city. And you can just see all the armor and infantry that come up. And he does have some anti-armor infantry, but I'm just trying to swarm him. My artillery is shooting. You know, I'm targeting building clusters he's in. And he's doing the same thing. This is this infantry fight right now. My recon, it doesn't have the best sight, but I am seeing what's coming in. Because, you know, if I mouse over him, I'm getting sight. And again, since they are only attacking when they're shot at, they have not attacked. So he likely doesn't know they're here still. And I'm getting very bad. So I see there's two tanks coming up. I'm getting my tanks in position where, alright, I'm gonna get sight here. My tanks will be ready, stationary to shoot and kill. And that's what happens. So my armor was the big thing that kind of won me this fight. I just overwhelmed him. One thing you can see I'm doing, I am not just clicking everything and moving it all at once. You don't want to do that. It's okay to do that moving to the battlefield, but you want stuff to be spread out. You know, I want overlapping fire with my tanks. And this isn't the best example because, you know, it's a very narrow area. And at this point, I knew there wasn't much fear. I'm still kind of keeping my tanks back. I don't want them too close if there is AT. Like, even this is probably too close. But I'm saying just stuff in to kill. And I have so much firepower here. Even if that is AT, they're dying so quick. Now I push up. Again, we're trying to keep control of the skies. We don't want him having recon. We're shooting that down. Control of the skies is important. We're got a little bit of a push going up in this town. We've called in some artillery. But generally, what I just want to stress in what is going on here is I'm taking forests with infantry and towns with infantry. My tanks, I'm keeping supported. I could be doing a better job. You know, you can see he just got knocked out and he's going to drive up and basically commit suicide. But I kind of was going safety in numbers. But the point is, the areas my tanks are driving into are under my control, so I know there's no units just sitting here. Like, I would not just be driving a tank up this road. So, like, and what you can see, so I'm actually going for this forest now. So, like, when he sent his tanks there, that was very deadly, because, you know, I have anti-tank infantry that were in this forest. If they stayed here, those tanks drive up here and they get knocked out because he has no sight. You can see we're trying to do some push across that bridgehead. My partner finally took the city over here. And at this point, we just have massive control. And as he pushes up, you know, I'm getting sight because, again, my recon is key. That's allowing me to get artillery down. I'm stopping his advance. You know, I'm killing guys, damaging guys. I'm being slow. I'm using, you know, I know he had AT up there. I know there's going to be stuff up in the woods. So, you know, I'm staying in areas where, you know, those woods are not going to have very good sight on a lot of my armor. And as the Russians, you can be a little bit more liberal. You know, their teeth, 3476s, they're meant to die. They're cheap. I can call in more artillery, you know, because I did see infantry were advancing. You can say I wiped one completely, get them fall back. Now I'm pushing in, because I know guys are going to be stressed and dead. And I'm, again, infantry, they're just, like, if he has a machine gun or something, that's fine. Like, these are infantry. If they start to get shot, I can fall back. But I'm taking buildings and kind of going house by house. I would think at the time I was assuming there were guys in these buildings, not over here yet. But you can see I did finally get this forest. And even if you don't have AT, like, at this point he knows there's something here just because of the battle line. But that's a huge threat. Like, now he has to clear this before he can drive armor down this road. He should. Otherwise, that's how you're gonna just lose stuff, lose armor. And we're gonna see what happens here. So here's these trucks just driving right up. Now I am starting to get shot now by, so he did pop out, which was smart, because if he did drive up, those guys would have destroyed them. And especially AT, if they catch a transport, you know, they can wipe that unit in that transport. Right here is what he should not be doing. He's just driving up like a madman. You know, I'm getting shots all over, and I just quickly killed those tanks. He's driving up like, you need to support stuff. You can't just send an AA gun up like that. You know, my infantry are just rushing it now. Because, you know, what's it gonna do? There's just too much. Not enough sight. Just surrendered. Didn't even get to fight. You need recon. So he does have recon over here still. It's not the best. That recon is... So see how it's far back? If I hover over it, he's not getting sight on anything over here. If he brought it up to the front of this tree line, it's still in green cover. And now look how the much more sight it gets. So he's not seeing anything that's in this forest. So yeah, Recon's king. And as Recon dies, try and get some more out. I really should have another Recon over in this tree line somewhere. But I'm relying a lot on my planes, and planes are awesome recon. They just can get suppressed quickly and killed quickly. But at this point, this is game. They surrender. You know, as soon as I take this hill, I don't see how this guy could come back on this side. And on this flank, they have a great, well, not great, but they have a defense going up in this tree line. But again, we control 19 of the 5 points, and they finally do surrender. But you can see what our enemies did not do very well was recon on my side, which is basically what we mainly focused on. He was driving tanks up. You always need to support. And when I say support, it comes in 3 levels in this game. First being recon. First way you support any type of push is you should have sight, unless you're super desperate. You should always have recon with sight lines going. The second support is infantry. Armor and other infantry need infantry. You don't want to just push like with the blob. If you can push with a wide line of infantry and there is even like a machine gun, well, it can pin down an entire blob. But if it's spread out, it can't. The third type of support is artillery, whether that's using smoke or just shelling to force them to fall back or damage them. And the fourth is air support, whether it's recon, bombing, whatever. I think you need the first two for any type of push, unless you're desperate. You always need sight, you always need infantry. And again, infantry supports armor, support anything. Artillery is needed to push someone out of a forest or a town. Again, a mix of smoke and just shelling them. The tough thing with artillery is if they have artillery, well, now you gotta either outposition it, outshell it first, call in more, have some shell the artillery, some shell the town, or you use air. Once artillery shoots, it's like, all right, you have sight of where it's at, let's go bomb it. And air is never needed, but it is a huge advantage, and you just don't want to lose air control completely. You always want fighters. You always want some type of threat of the air, because if you lose air completely, even though AA guns can quickly suppress and even shoot down planes, you don't want that to be your only thing you're gonna rely on, because a good player will get just artillery and shell that AA and then hit it with some bombers, and before you know it, now you've lost all your AA. And likely, if you've lost air support, you don't want to be dumping a lot of points into those AA units, because that means you need that much more infantry and armor support to control the ground. But the next part, I'm going to just show you another video, another replay, and go over just some more basic tactics. And again, if you have questions, let me know. And I'm not going into heavy stuff, so like there's a lot of stuff with like armor penetration. There's some type of tanks that are just tanks in the true sense of the word. Like they're just gonna soak and bounce. So this game, I was on the left, my teammate was on the right, and just like in the first, I'm setting up groups. I have, recon in the front, infantry, and some type of support in the back, whether it's AT, tank, artillery. just, and I'm looking at where I'm going. So again, if we look at the middle of the map, just to give you an idea of what I'm thinking when I see this, I want this heavy forest, but this is going to be a mess because people are going to be able to walk up. But the heavy forest there, I want. Let's just pause it real quick. So looking at him, this road is a major lifeline for them. Um, the more control we get on this road, the better. And this road for specifically the guy I'm fighting, if he's gonna support this town and get to these tree lines, he's using these routes. So if I can start getting sight, like AT, like in this tree line, and he's bringing tanks up, I can knock a tank out where he might not be expecting it. Or that's how I'm gonna cut off him from going to a town. So the town in the middle, we have a hill to go up, so they're probably gonna get that town, I'm thinking. But I'm, going for the tree lines around the town, get guys up in this tree line, and I don't want him to be able to use that road. So that's kind of where I'm at. My stuff, is popping out. I send an MG. I actually try and get the MG. I was hoping to maybe beat him and get it set up. I didn't quite. So just did try and throw in a building. But you can see I was successful in getting the forest I wanted. I believe that I got an MG over there. I got a light tank over here. So the tank I'm trying to get in position, like right here. All right, I'm getting some good sight lines. I probably should have moved it a bit. Well, so you do see it gets a hit off. Does help damage. Infantry's getting fights. But at this point, where my head's at over here is I want to start getting control. I'm pushing up here. If I can get that green forest area, that's huge for me. We have some fights going on here. I'm seeing he has a Panther, some AT. He did kill an armor unit. So now I'm going to mostly just deal with infantry. Eventually I'm going to call in some artillery. And I'm, getting in this area so it can attack both these tree lines and the town, because we did not get the town, which was kind of expected, because again the middle of the map was like right here, so it was closer to them. At least that town was. So you can see we have air control again. I'm just keeping my fighters flying. Just anytime a plane comes out, we're just trying to nail it. And a lot of times we'll let bait. I get some AT set up, kind of in the middle of my zone, or not AT, AA. But you can so he's pushed up here. So you can see I'm going to attack with infantry in 2 routes. I'm just letting this car sit here for sight. If he kills it, at this point I don't really care. I'm pretty confident there's infantry over here. I see him at this point, but that's why I'm shelling, just judging by the map. So I'm just pushing across, trying to cut off. And if I can get this forest at this point, that gives me an attack to the rear of the town or to the left. And again, you're looking at a lot of geographical areas, like what can I take? What is gonna hurt my enemy the most? And I'm trying to keep good recon up. He's pushing on me over here, so I'm trying not to get my recon killed. This recon's still in a good spot, so that one could be better. But I'm more kind of waiting. I want recon where I'm going to attack, try and take that force and move the recon up. This recon I'm just hiding because I just don't want it to die. I kill his troops, so now I'm going to get my recon vehicle in a better spot. Just start getting more control over the forest over here. And at this point, most of my infantry and stuff over here is dead, but my partner's still making that attack over here. He does have a very strong push going up on the right. As you can see, my opponent is doing his best to slow me down on the left, but he's not pushing. And in my opinion, he's doing a little bit, but he should really be sending infantry in. Now, he probably has seen this tank and just doesn't have anything to deal with it. And he doesn't. You don't want to just drive a Panther like over here because I'll probably kill it. Close range, tanks kill tanks. Even a small gun tank is gonna kill a large gun tank. So those guys are suicided, and likely I gave an attack order and just forgot. I'm backing up my tank at that point because I have no infantry. See, I don't know that he has no AT, but I'm counting on my recon over here. But I don't know if he has no AT. I probably should have even backed the tank up more. I'm just worried about, as I move it in here, I don't want to open it up. I don't know if there's AT in some of these tree lines. Well, I did know this one was there. But I'm trying to get more infantry up. But he's using flame infantry in dense forest and in towns is preferred. So that him having those guys there is very good. The only way I'm going to beat that is artillery or just overwhelming numbers. Or I get him to expose them where I kill them before they're in range. So I have some attacks going. Trying to get some I'm bringing more armor up using recon. I'm getting my planes out. As he sends planes in, we send our attack aircraft in and try and kill them. But he does have some AA. You can see I did take the forest here. I'm still using my recon. Again, my first support in any attack is recon, and infantry supporting infantry. And you can see my artillery. I'm just attacking all over. And some of this is guesswork, because of the battle line. Alright, I know there's something here. I don't even know what it is. I'm just going to shoot and cause suppression. Either get him, maybe I kill it, maybe I get him to just get rid of it. And then I can start, advancing. On the left, I'm really doing brute force. So since my tank hasn't died, I'm just getting more tanks up. I know he should be sending some AT. It's not here yet. I'm supplying my tanks with the supply truck. So one AT does die from Panzer IV. But I'm trying to knock it out with my planes. Do get to fall back. But this is kind of brute force. You can see I'm pushing it with my infantry, kind of another two-pronged attack. There's nothing there. He has stuff out in the open, so I'm trying to get an AT gun within range. Bringing up more infantry. And again, I've cut off the town from this road now. So the town is only getting support really from this road. Which is allowing us to take, because we're pouring in from more directions. If there's an attack coming, where's it coming from? Well, it's coming from this wood, or this wood. For him, alright, it can be coming from any of this. He's seen me push over here now, so it's like, am I going to go for this? Like, infantry and units now can't just focus on the town. They got to be ready for attack on the flanks. And as I push up here, I've cut this lifeline off. And he hasn't used it much. Which I would have been using this road more. It's a straight shot. Before I push up this far, you're going to get troops up quicker. You have cover you can push up through. But as I get this forest, now I'm starting to cut off this road. So you can... I'm trying to get my tanks in an area like right here, where they have line of sight. And that's the thing, like the battle lines aren't necessarily what you control. Sight's what you control with guns, So I get these, so I see this tank here, because of the hill, I actually have sight up here. So I'm able to shoot and I'm pushing up with some infantry and stuff, but me controlling this area, essentially I control here now as well. Because him to have armor here means it's in the open, no cover. I'm going to spot it all day, and this tank's just basically gone. The crew's dead. I'm just blowing the shit out of it. Uh, so I mean, essentially, this red line is up here, and you just keep the push going. And yeah, they surrender here. At this point, they lost the town, and they've just lost all their major, you know, lifelines, like the stuff that's gonna allow them to keep supporting attacks and counterattack. So I hope you're able to pick up some from that. Uh, Again, my 4 rules of support. With any attack, you need the first 2, recon and infantry, unless you're desperate. If you're desperate, you gotta do what you gotta do. Followed by artillery and air. Uh, when you look at the battlefield, look at intersections. Roads are important. You want to use them to move. Uh, 'Cause it takes a long time for stuff to get to the front. So the quicker it gets up there, the better. And cut your opponent's lifelines off. If you're fighting over a town, whether they control it or you control half, they control half, look at ways you can start to cut off their support from reaching there, because you can always like artillery the area, and if they can't get guys to replenish it, then eventually it's gonna fall. Or if you're taking like a forest or a town that's at the flank of the main area you're trying to get, well, that's another area. Now they have to start focusing troops over there because attack may come over there, and it's a threat of the attack that can be just as powerful as the attack. So again, basic stuff. I hope you guys learned. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comments. I'll try and address them.